we get started, I got a few announcements I want to make. I do want to mention that we do have we normally pass the basket, but we have the virtual basket, and we're still getting used to that, okay? And that's found in the chat room under Venmo and also under PayPal. I want to mention also that Saturday, David Diamond will be doing the Law of Attraction at 1 o'clock. If you are interested, you can go to the website and get information on how to connect with him on Zoom. I also want to mention that starting next week, we'll be starting a new series. We finished the Codependency series tonight. And then next week, I'll be starting a 7-week series on the 12 steps of self-parenting. I wanted to follow up with that series because it kind of fits right into the Codependency series and taking the concept of self-parenting a little deeper. So have some fun with that starting next week. Okay. So the schedules, all the things are on the website. You can check them out if you want to. Okay. I think that's all the commercials I have. Everything else you can check on the website. And I get this question every week, so I might as well answer it. We are open for counselors, and we are working on a plan to start bringing some of the groups back. So as soon as we have that situated, because of the limits we have right now on social distancing and also on the number of people we can have inside, we'll be able to get that to you. Okay? All right. I want to begin tonight by doing a reading, The Language of Letting Go, the meditation book for codependency. And I picked yesterday's reading because it fits into our topic for tonight. Healing. Let healing energy flow through your body. The healing energy of God, the universe, life, and recovery surrounds us. It is available, waiting for us to draw on it. It's waiting at our meetings or our groups on the words of a whispered prayer and a gentle touch, a positive word, a positive thought. Healing energy is the sun, the wind, the rain, and all that is good. Let healing energy come. Attract it, accept it. Let it soak in. Breathe in the golden light. Exhale. Let go of fear, anger, hurt, doubt. Let healing energy flow to you and through you. It is yours for the asking, just for believing. They are asked for and accept the healing energy from God and the universe. I will let it flow to me, through me, and back out to others. I am part of and at one with the continuous cycle of healing. Over the past weeks, we spent a lot of time talking about codependency, the traits and characteristics, talking about the recovery process. And I mentioned 3 things which are really important. The one is it's real important for us to get in touch with our history, to go back and look at where we came from, but to do it, secondly, in a positive way. Everything about life is healing. Whatever we experience, whatever we went through in life, even the hurt, the trauma, even the pain, we go through it so that someday, some way, somehow, we can come to a sense of healing, to a sense of growth. And thirdly, we realize that each of us are able to do this healing process, not alone and by ourselves, but in conjunction with others, and learning how to say the 2 special words, which I'll talk a lot about tonight. The words are help me. To ask for help, ask for guidance, and ask for direction. So tonight what I want to do is I want to do a couple of things with you. I want to start off by doing a meditation and a visualization with you. That's why I asked you to bring your teddy bears and the photograph of you as a little child. And then we'll go into the inner child stuff. And then at the end, I want to do another meditation, another visualization to close out our series on codependency tonight. So what I'd like you to do is take the photograph you have of yourself as a little child. And I would like you to just take some time to look at it and be able to build a relationship, both physically and spiritually, with that little child. You keep that child right in the center of your core. I'd also like you to take your stuffed animal or whatever you have and put it right next to your heart. Hold on to it and give it a great big hug. I'd like you now to close your eyes. Remember the gift of that beautiful little child that you have. That little child is you. Feel the energy of this beautiful stuffed animal next to your heart. Feel the closeness of the hug. And where we are today, this is some of the greatest hugs we can give to ourselves right now. And I want you to kind of visualize something very special. Visualize yourself as a beautiful little baby getting ready to be born. God, your higher power, the Creator, comes up to you and says, I'm going to prepare you and send you on a journey into a world that's going to confuse you, into a world in which you'll be able to celebrate, into a world that at times will tax you. I'm also going to send you into some families so you can learn about life and learn about yourself through the experiences of them. This is a journey of life I'm going to send you on. I'm going to give you two beautiful gifts. These are my gifts to you. I'm going to give you the strength, the energy, and the power of love. I'm going to place that love into your hearts. No matter what happens on your journey in this life, you will always have my love inside of you. I'm also going to give you the gift of free will to allow you to make your own decisions on this journey. I'm going to be with you at all times. And I make a solemn promise to you. I will walk alongside of you on the journey, and I'll be there no matter what you go through. All you have to do is ask for my help, ask for my guidance, ask for my direction. I will send teachers, I will send messengers, I will send guardians into your life to bring messages to show you the way. But only if you ask for my help. For it is your journey. It is your life I am sending you on. I will give you the gifts. I'll give you the things that you need. But it's important for you to be able to access them, to live them, to once again bring yourself back to them. At times you will get lost. At times you'll forget some of the gifts I've given you. But only through struggle and only through the situations of life will one day you'll be able, hopefully, to come back to that simple energy of love that we all have inside of us. And so in the spirit of love and the spirit of this energy, we now go into the gift of the inner child, and we reflect in a very special way tonight on that beautiful gift. The gift of a beautiful little child that lurks inside of each and every one of us. And that beautiful little child is the gift of our love. I'd like now just to spend some time sharing with you some of the gifts of the inner child. I want you to reflect, and many psychologists and teachers teach this, and many of the great prophets have taught it. When we come into this world, especially in the first 3 to 4 years of our life, they say that we are still connected to the other side. We're still connected to the angels. Many of us who have raised children know that, notice how little kids have their friends, their guys, their very personal friends they talk to and have conversations with. And sometimes we look at them, but really in reality, they're still conversing with the other side. I'll tell you a story. A good friend of mine, Dan Gottlieb, well-known psychologist, was on the radio. And Dan is a paraplegic, and Dan is a very beautiful man. I've known him for years. Dan told me a story. He said he had a young couple come in to visit him. They had just had a beautiful little baby girl. They were concerned. Their 4-year-old son said to them, "Mommy and Daddy, can I go by myself into my baby sister's room and spend some time with her?" And the couple was a little nervous. They said they don't know what he meant. They thought maybe he'd be jealous and maybe he would want to, they didn't know what. So Dan said to them, let him go into the room and spend time with his little sister, but keep the door cracked open and just watch what he does. Dan told us that little boy went up to the crib, looked at his little sister, and he said, I just want to spend some time with you because I'm starting to forget what the angels are all about. I want to be with you so I can still stay connected. To see a beautiful little child talk to another little child about being able to be part of God's creation. And knowing that slowly but surely, growth is going to take place. And his journey of life will change. I share this again in another story I always love telling. You've heard me tell it before. And all the mothers in here will understand what I'm talking about. It's almost as if at the moment of a child's birth, right before he's born, he's inside his mother's womb. And the womb is kind of warm and comfortable. And the little child loves being there. You know, it kind of can be lazy, do what it has to do, can kick you once in a while, let you know it's around. But then something happens. It starts to grow and get bigger. And eventually it has to leave the womb. But go inside just for a second, as if that little child could talk. It's saying, I don't want to leave. Everybody on the outside is saying, you have to leave. I don't want to leave. I like it here. Now comes the ultimate struggle of life. The doctor on the other end is telling mommy, push. You know, the kid is saying, yeah, I don't want you pushing. I'm going to stay here. And yet that struggle and that battle takes place. And even though, as moms know, it's a painful struggle and it's a scary struggle, but that child actually struggles to get out. And finally, when it's born, mom can look at that beautiful little child and all the pain goes away. She sees the beauty. Then that poor little child is picked up by a doctor, and the doctor slaps it a little bit to get it going. And look at the little kid. He says, I was in a nice warm place. I had to fight to get out here. Then I get slapped. What kind of a world did I come into? And I kind of put this in kind of a funny way, but it's not funny because that is what I call the ultimate struggle of life. It is the beginning of the journey. Because what happens in that situation is the child's beginning to experience what life really is going to be all about. The child takes its gifts, and now it goes on a journey of a very powerful and beautiful struggle that all of us will go through as we deal with the little child that's inside of us. There's a struggle of the negative ego versus the spirit. Inside of all of us, as we grow and experience life, go into our family systems. In different family systems, we talked about these in the past. We're picking up traits, characteristics, our personalities being developed. And as a result, many of us have a tendency, as we get into these systems, we get into life, to get into a lot of control, to really think that somehow, somewhere, we're going to figure this out. I always call this the illusion of control. We think we're in control, and we think that we're able to handle life, but in reality, we can't. The journey does go on, though, because you're going to go through a lot of experiences as they grow, as the child grows. Those experiences then will become the child's teacher. But many of us have to go through that process and go through those experiences and go through the pain and struggle of those experiences. Because on the other side, we come to the awakening. I always want to share one of my favorite stories. And many of you have probably heard me talk about it before. It's the story of a great saint in the Catholic Church, St. Augustine. And in his Confessions of St. Augustine, he writes, tells the story. His life, if you looked at it compared to today, he would be considered to be probably, if we used our terms, a womanizer or a sex addict, probably connected drugs, alcohol, insanity, craziness. His life was totally out of control. In his day and age, he's considered to be a playboy, doing all kinds of crazy, insane things. But then he talks about coming to that point in his life where he basically couldn't handle it anymore. His life was out of control. Even though he thought he was in control, his life was insane and crazy. He came to a point of despair. The story goes to tell us that he came to a point where he no longer wanted to live. He was hurting so bad that he fell to his knees and literally begged and asked for help. We're told that a hand reached down, touched him, grabbed him, helped him to get up, and helped him to begin the journey on the other side. In fact, to a point where eventually his journey took him becoming a saint in the Catholic Church. In fact, there is a 12-step program called Sex and Love Addicts Anonymous. It's actually called the St. Augustine Fellowship. It's named after him. But what he experienced, what all of us go through in life, and there's a beautiful writing about this called The Dark Night of the Soul. The dark night of the soul is a night of struggle. And way back in the seminary, when I was in the seminary, we had to study this work. I don't recommend studying it. It was a pretty intense thing. But there's a writing about it today called The Dark Night of the Soul. What's so beautiful about it is that every human being, every one of us, because of our control, because we try to figure life out, because we try to organize everything, because we're constantly worrying, we're constantly trying to find the answers to everything. And we have to go through that struggle, that dark night, to actually come to a point on our journey where we can't do it anymore. You know, it's ironical. It's almost like we have to do it the hard way first. We've got to go through some pain and struggle. We have to actually earn our transition and our change. And what's so beautiful about it is, throughout that whole entire process of our experiences, there might be traumas, things that we experience, losses. We experience deaths in our family and different places in life. All these things, these hurts and pains that we go through, are really struggles that are part of the life journey, part of life's experiences. That one day, if we're able to face them, deal with them, and learn from them and grow from them, but to be able to face them in a positive way, and to realize there's just a journey that little child inside of us is taking us on, so we can learn our lessons and do our growing and get to that very special place in our life. We're able to say those two magic words: help me. Isn't it ironic sometimes how we have to kind of beat ourselves up for a long period of time? Because we try to do it alone and by ourselves. We actually think we have the power to be able to do this. We rely on our free will. When in reality, we keep making decisions that basically may not be all that healthy for us. But you know, like anything else, we got to do it the hard way first, and then find out there's an easier way. It's called the struggle of life. So that war that goes on inside of us, the war between the negative ego, which tells us that we can handle everything, and our spirit, that free spirit inside of each and every one of us, the little Snoopy inside of us, that's truly alive. That leads us to this concept of the inner child, because inside of all of us, there's a spontaneous, beautiful, gifted little child. That part of us that wants to play, to celebrate, to have fun. There's also that responsible adult who's trying to look at life logically and find answers to everything. Then we have the concept of the adult and the child. And many of us as codependents have a tendency either be all child or all adult. We don't have a real sense of balance. And that's why so many times in the course of our journey, we have a tendency to go to the extremes. That's why sooner or later we have to come to that point of balance where your adult and your child can build a relationship together. We talked about this in the self-parenting concept, how our child has to be able to express its feelings and get in touch with its feelings, and the adult has to help the child to process those feelings. That's how growth takes place in life. What's so beautiful about it is, it's because we have inside of us these energies, these things we're working on to bring us connected to one another, and to experience the gift of who we are as people. It's kind of beautiful to be a human being, to be special. It's kind of beautiful to be able to be open to the spirit. But sometimes we get a little stubborn. We got to do it the hard way. We got to go through our own dark night, our own awakening, and our own struggle. We finally come to that point, deep down inside, where I can ask for help, ask for guidance, ask for direction, and realize the fact that I need help. Sometimes we have to be driven to our knees. Sometimes we have to get to that point where we actually have to say, God, help me. And that's where a real sense of faith comes into play, a real sense of belief. That's where the first step, second step, and third step come into play, because in that first step, we experience our powerlessness. In the second and third step, we develop a sense of faith. We ask for help, and then what God does, our higher power sends messengers into our life. They send teachers into our life. They send people into our life to help us on the journey. And they teach us to have a sense of faith and to realize that somehow, some way, everything always kind of finds its way. I want to share something with you, because today's kind of another special day for me, because today is actually my father's birthday. If he was alive today, he'd be 124 years old. It would be interesting. But I wished him a happy birthday again this morning. And I know one thing about my dad. I reflected in my Facebook page today, and I share it with you today. At my meeting last night, we talked about, one of the topics we had at our meeting was impatience. How so many times in our life we're impatient for things to happen, instead of working on a gift of faith and allowing them to happen naturally. And so my father used to say this to me all the time when I was a kid. Now, I got to remember, I'm a small child. I'm listening to my dad. He has this wisdom. I didn't call it wisdom back then. I probably called it something else, but he called it wisdom. He would say things to me. In Italian, he would say, "Pazienza guaion, pazienza guaion." In Italian, that means patience, my son. Patience, my son. Take it easy. Everything happens when it's supposed to happen. Everything happens in God's time. He would remind me all the time that there's something more powerful than us. I thought maybe, I think of him today, maybe he belonged to a 12-step program back then, but I don't think there were too many around back then. But I loved it so much in my father, because my father had this simple, beautiful little wisdom that he tried to impart to me. But I'm no different than anybody else. Isn't it amazing how we have to get older before we actually hear something that's inside of you already? He was imparting wisdom to my inner child, which would stay there and be with me. And then I'll have to carry that into my life. And even today, sometimes I get a little impatient. Then I realize the importance of, you got to have faith. Everything finds its way. Everything has a journey. Each one of us is so special and so beautiful. We are God's creation. We have the gift inside of us of God's love. That gift was given to us. It's part of us. We are all God's lovers. And deep down inside, that energy has to be activated. It's got to be brought out. And I believe that God sends angels, messengers, and guides into our life to help activate that gift. See, we don't all meet each other by accident. We're all messengers and teachers to one another. We're connected to one another. And each and every one of us comes into our life to help us on our journey, to help us move forward on our journey. But we have to walk the journey with a sense of faith, a sense of belief, a sense of the wonderment of a beautiful little child. I want to tell a story. I love telling this story. And this is the story of my granddaughter. I always think back when she was a little girl, and my wife and I had the wonderful experience of being with her from the time of her birth on. And I remember one day my wife and I were taking her to Dairy Queen to play in the bouncy balls and stuff like that. And I guess she was what, about maybe 3 years old, 4 years old. And she was carrying a balloon. And as we got to the front door of Dairy Queen, it slipped out of her hand and went up in the air. And just like a beautiful little child, she turned to me and said, "Papa, go get my balloon." Of course, I looked at her, but then the little child in me came alive. I said, "Okay." So I said, "You go with Grandma and you go play." I'm back to Walmart and bought another balloon. And I came back with a balloon. Well, the amazing part about it was, in her wonderment, in her little mind, I went up in the sky and got her balloon. She was so excited. And now she's 21 years old. We can talk about this story. We can laugh about it today. But you know, I love that wonderment of a little child. And each and every one of us has that beautiful little child inside of us. We have that energy, that wonderment about life. Please try your best not to let life bog you down. Try not to get caught up in the craziness and the insanity of things around you. But don't lose that wonderment, that gift of the child. And realize the fact that we're all on a journey. Where it's going to go, I don't know. What's so beautiful about it is it'll find its way. The hardest part is being open to the journey, being open to where we're going to be led, and allow that little child to be our leader. I truly believe today in that concept, a little child shall lead us. Scripture even says it. God always went to the little children because children are great teachers. They're powerful because they have simplicity. They have that connection inside of them. Sometimes I always say, sometimes it's kind of scary to become an adult, but that's okay. It's all part of the journey. My Indian meditation book this morning talked about the cycle of life. You come in as a baby, you go through different stages of life, and you connect to become an elder, and then you pass on. It's the circle, the cycle of life. But they said in the Indian book today, we have to make sure that we pass on to others the lessons, the gifts, the teachings, the things that we've experienced. And that's what life really is all about. We come into this world as a little child, a beautiful little child. And there's something to that because there's old saying, you've heard this before. Come into the world in diapers, you end in diapers. As you begin as a child, you go out as a child. Sometimes I look at seniors and older people and how maybe they become more childlike as they get older. They get to a point where they don't worry about some of the things they worried about before. They begin to enjoy life more and celebrate and play more. Isn't it sad sometimes how we have to go through so many things in our life so we finally go back and experience that gift of the little child that we have inside of us? We're all little children. It's fantastic. And so doing inner child work simply means going inside, asking for help and guidance, and allowing yourself to build that blend between the adult and the child. To literally let that adult help that little child to learn and to grow. We're family, we're connected together. We have to help each other. The child will give us the wonderment and the spirit. The adult will give us the responsibility. If we have the two working together, side by side, we have balance in life. And that's really what it's all about. The world outside, it will always be dysfunctional. It will always be dysfunctional. Why? Because it's supposed to. See, I've said this so many times that dysfunctionality is part of the learning process of life. We have to be able to go through and experience it and try to the best of our ability to smell the roses, to see the good things on the other side, to see the beauty, to laugh, to celebrate. And sometimes all you can do is laugh at life, because life can be very funny. You know, my wife and I were listening to Linda LaRoche as we drove in our car the other day, and she's the great wonderment of laughter. It's Loretta LaRoche. Sorry, Loretta. But the beautiful part about it is she has this gift of laughter and fun. She has this gift of being able to make people laugh. And she even tells stories about her family, and we all have a belly laugh over it. She has a belly laugh over it. We've all gone through a lot of things in our life. Look back on your history. You know what's so beautiful about healing from your history? You're able to get that gift of laughter as a child and look at life and laugh at it a little bit. Some of the crazy stuff we've gone through, some of the experiences we've gone through. Guess what? We've gone through them. We're here today. We all have experiences, but it involves a lot of faith, a lot of belief, a lot of letting go, a lot of realizing that somehow, some way, something out there will help us and guide us and lead us on the journey we're supposed to be on. And so I really get excited when I talk about the inner child, because there's a beautiful little child inside of each and every one of us. And that little child is special, it's wonderful, it's fantastic. The little child is a gift. And I share this with you because what I want to do tonight, I want to share a kind of a closing meditation and visualization on the inner child to help you to begin to see the beautiful things we have inside of us. That reading I did from Language of Letting Go talked about the golden light. I want to share that light with you tonight, because I truly believe that deep down inside there is a beautiful little child just waiting for you to give you the gift of love, to show you who we really are. And so as we look at this issue of codependency, we realize we're nothing but little kids learning about life, learning how to heal, learning how to forgive, learning how to make settlement. So we break the bonds of codependency by just being ourselves and saying those two magic words, help me. You don't want to walk the journey of your life by yourself. We all need each other. We're family. And if we just kind of connect together, we're different, we're diverse, but we're still family. I have to be able to learn from the experiences. So what I'd like to do tonight is do a closing meditation and visualization with you that'll kind of take the place of the prayer. And it kind of brings us into the gift of the child. And then at the end of it, we'll close it out with the serenity prayer. I'd like you once again to take the photograph of yourself as a little child. Take a real good look at it. Kind of put it right into your memory. Keep it right there. And then take your stuffed animal, hold it to your heart. And I want you to close your eyes. Take a nice deep breath and just relax. Take a minute to breathe in and breathe out. Try for a few minutes to let go of everything going on out in the world. Let go of all the insanity, all the craziness. And just let yourself be present. Just you, your inner child, and the God of your understanding. I'd like you to visualize yourself going on a journey tonight. Visualize yourself going on a journey down a very beautiful golden corridor. At the end of the corridor, there's a beautiful, beautiful golden door. I'd like you now to walk to that door. As you approach the door, you notice how beautiful and how powerful that door is. You like to walk up to it, reach up, touch it. And as you touch that golden door, it magically swings open. On the other side of that door, there is nothing but darkness. I would like you now, in a spirit of joy, to walk into the darkness. And as you walk into the darkness, you notice way off in the distance a small but beautiful golden light shining. I would like you now to walk towards that light, as if that light is calling you. It's almost like it kind of has you. And as you walk towards it, it gets brighter, it gets larger, it gets more beautiful. It is the golden light of peace, serenity, and calmness. I would like you now to enter into that light. Visualize yourself surrounded by the golden light of peace, serenity, kindness, and gentleness. Bathe yourself with this beautiful golden light, the golden light of healing, the golden light of peacefulness. As you bathe yourself in this beautiful golden light, notice coming towards you in the distance, beautiful, beautiful pink light. As it gets closer and closer and closer, it gets brighter, it gets even more beautiful, until you are surrounded by the pink light of love. Visualize yourself surrounded by the golden light of peace and serenity, and the beautiful energy and power of love. These two lights bring you a sense of joy and peace inside of yourself. As you bathe yourself in these two lights, notice someone walking towards you from that pink light of love. It is a little child. The little child walks right up to you, looks at you. As you look at that beautiful little child, you realize that little child is you. That child gets so excited, leaps into your arms, hugs you. And as you hug that beautiful child, the child says to you, I've been waiting for you for a long time. I have come to give you the gift of love. I have come to be connected back to you. I have come to be bonded to you. And as you embrace that beautiful little child, you can feel the energy, the strength, and the power of love going through you. As that little child comes to heal, comes to bring forgiveness, comes to bring us love. Well, you got to take that beautiful little child with you. And as you carry that little child back towards the golden door, notice as long as you hold on to that beautiful little child, the golden light of peace and serenity, the pink light of love, the energy of love will continue to surround you. For now, you are united back to that beautiful love and energy of that child that God has put inside of us. Now bring that child with you back down the corridor and back into this room. And as you enter this room, try to realize the golden light of peace and serenity surrounds this room. For now, you are bonded and connected back to that beautiful little child. That little child is the gift of love God has given to us. Will always be deep inside little children. Take that energy, take the gift that God has given to us. Take it out into the world. Share it with others. Be a person of healing, person of forgiveness. Be open to new things and new growth, but have a sense of faith. The little child teaches us not to be afraid, and that love will conquer all fear. For we truly love ourselves and love others, the gifts of life will come to us. But as my father said, they will come in God's time, not in our time. Patience. Just be open to the journey. Take a little bit at a time and celebrate the gift that you have inside of you, the gift of a little child. I'd like all of us now to take that beautiful little child into our arms. And if we unmute ourselves, we can all say and pray with the little child the serenity prayer.
God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. God's will, not mine, be done.